How's it going, everybody? The Seer here, and with me today, I have Dorky Dad, the champion of the 5C Envoy tournament, and we had a pretty epic bout as far as the path that we took to get to the championship round and the championship round itself. So, again, congratulations on the victory on that one, man.
Yeah, I'm the best!
I'll be sure to ship you those broken headsets too, I guess.
Yes, sir. Please do.
So as far as the journey to get to that championship round, I ended up going against Mobile Gamer first, and you went against Updog. Now, as far as the matches that we end up having in that first round, did you see anything that was pretty difficult? Because the tournament itself is very stressful, trying to figure out these rooms on the fly, theory crafting, the offenses, the defenses. It's stressful doing these, man.
It's so stressful because you never really know what to expect. So the way we read a room and the way it works sometimes isn't exactly in line with each other. And then there's just so many nuances with the depth of these character kits that we now have in our game that something just comes out of left field and you're just not ready for it. Like in my first match against Updog, who I have a very storied history with. We've matched a couple times. He made me break my Batman because Old Man Logan was bugged on the test server, and that's how I lost the first tournament and became a living meme. And so I faced off against him, and right away in stage one, I got caught with a Medusa taking Death Proof off and an Omega Sentinel one-shotting Micah Hori, which was super fun. Loved that. So yeah, it can get personal, it can get stressful, and it could be a lot of fun too at times.
Yeah, my first round opponent was Mobile Gamer, and he ended up beating me on the last 5C tournament, so I had to live with that for a whole season. I almost lost this one too due to the Odonati Black Knight in stage 4. So if we end up taking a look at that, the stage 4, I end up going in with Mephisto, Old Man Logan, Weaver, Apoc, Echo. I only killed Black Knight on there, and I tried going in with Astral Team. That didn't work, so I backed out. It's like, I gotta get it on this hit, and it was Night Stalker's Shadow King that pulled the victory out on that one. So stage 4 is a nightmare.
It is so hard to plan out, and your final team was really well thought out, right? Because you need to get some sort of speed characters that get in there, but not too fast that you're dealing with that room rule that we just have no experience with.
Yeah,
And yeah, like you said, like when someone beats you the tournament before, it's like you got to get one back on them. You have to.
yeah, absolutely. Which brings us to our second round opponent. I ended up going against Duelam on this one, and you took out T-Dub, which I think T-Dub and you was the championship round for the last tournament. How did that one end up going for you?
Yeah, that one was super interesting as well. That one, T-Dub decided to go, like I kind of go, very, very offensive heavy. So there wasn't much to kind of digest in the rooms themselves, except that there was, again, in stage one, some interesting shenanigans with the room rules there for a pre-taunt. Besides that, though, like we both went pure offensive, and I think it kind of showed what this season is likely going to turn out to be. But yeah, that was the championship round from the last tournament that I did end up walking away with. So that one, I would have been okay to lose that one. But okay, now we're even. I'm okay with being even with people. I'm not okay with being down 2,
Yeah,
1, let alone 2. Yeah.
yeah, and I took out Duelam, which I felt like I had to take him out. It's like, I'm not going to let another Summer of Duelam end up happening. So I was happy with that one. And I ended up one-shotting all of his rooms, and he had a few struggles as far as mine. In stage 1, I ended up doing the Odonati with Black Bolt in here. He didn't get the one shot on there. Stage 5, this one here was a mistake. He accidentally ended up killing the Bishop, pushing everything. Then he got it on the second hit. And then stage 6, he ended up using a Null team in here with Carnage, but that kind of gets shut down because the room rules where you can't gain the speed up. So Carnage, I think, was a misplay on that one, but I ended up getting the victory on there. Then we end up going to the championship round where, that's not going to end up. I'm still having nightmares.
It was good. It was so close.
It was a great matchup, and it was the stage 4 I just tried something, a Hail Mary shot, and it did not work. And that ended up getting you the victory on here. Now you end up struggling as well with my stage 4, which ended up being Liberty with Super Scroll. How much did this one actually catch you off guard?
Oh my god! So I knew it was going to be a problem, right? Because it's got that Cosmic Ghost Rider minus 5,000 focus. My thought was like, okay, it's Storm. She's got 500% extra focus, which is I know it's 10 times less than the Room World guys. I get it. I was just hopeful that she would land some stuff, and I'd be able to get some extra damage out there. And I did get it to a place where it was easily cleaned up. But boy, was it not fun. And then if you leave that sort of team in a bad position with Super Skrull, Cabal doesn't land vulnerables. That doesn't work. I had already used Howard somewhere else. I don't have Captain Britain. So you have to stop the Super Skrull because it could just be an absolute nightmare to clean up. And luckily, Immortals X-Men did get them to a position where it was somewhat easily cleanable with a giant Kahori with offense up and doing her thing. But that one was stressful. That was my first match. I thought I lost the Crucible right then and there. I was like, okay, well, nothing else matters. Let's just have some fun. But yeah, my stage 4 was it's nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
you did even though you brought the good team in on the second attack, you still lost just because that room is so crazy, right?
Yeah, so I end up canceling out. Then I went in with my own Black Knight, Phoenix Force, Mephisto. He's able to kind of do his turn 1 thing, and then Echo to shut it down. But the opening, the retaliates from the Black Knight in here, it's just so punishing in here to where you can't land anything, and it doesn't feel like it's negative 50% damage. It feels a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, for sure. And then, yes, I guess once Odin got his charges up, it's just a wrap from there, right? Because all of a sudden you can't really hurt him. He healed all the way back up. He gets his ultimate. He perma kills your Omega Red Phoenix Force, which, if you guys don't know, is actually more likely to happen with a bigger Omega Red Phoenix Force. So because on this playtest we had the 7 Red Star Omega Red Phoenix Force, it actually lines up easier for Odin to get the perma kill on him. Yeah. But then you come in there and you clean up. Oh, even the cleanup looked pretty rough, eh?
Yeah.
The minus damage. The minus damage you had to deal with.
Minus damage. So I'm like, I'm going to lose some people. So I'm going to take Dagger out. I'm going to throw Deadpool in. That way, if he ends up surviving long enough, he gives 2 charges to Deathpool. And I barely pulled it off. And I did end up pulling the ult. I pulled the special. So this was just from the basics. It was nasty.
Oof, so rough. And this season is going to be pretty interesting, right? Because, Starjammers are going to struggle in 4, as you showed there. Like you showed an even built Starjammer struggling. But also, if you have, say, Starjammers on defense or using them somewhere else, wherever the case may be, that stage 1, it stops somebody from wanting to use their Mephisto, their Omega Red Phoenix Force as strikers. Like I think that's why Doolin probably lost, because he had to take them off striker and put them as raiders instead.
Yeah.
You lose those very, very important triple taps, or the double tap, I guess, which kills through Death Proof, which does do more damage, say, on a character like Mephisto. So it becomes really rough. Like these stage rules, they're interesting. And I guess we're going to see how Null lines up. Yeah, I guess how Null lines up, I guess.
Yeah, so that's one of the elephants of the room is I had Null on defense all 3 rounds. I wasn't able to test him out as an offensive tool during this. I just wanted to try to throw people off with the stage 2, and Kahori goes Burr in there along. Mobile actually used Immortal X-Men into, and that ended up actually failing. So that was pretty interesting.
Really?
So he tried throwing the stun on Null, which obviously doesn't happen. And then from there, he ended up pushing Thanos, and then Thanos ended up ulting right afterwards and took out the team. So Immortal X-Men even struggled against this team on here, which I found pretty interesting.
Yeah, and you know what Immortal X-Men doesn't stop his speed stat gain. So because he had Void Knight and he had Gore, that symbiote crew goes pretty fast. I'm not sure I would want to lean into that with a 1 red star, 4 yellow star Null, though. That probably be even uglier.
Yeah, so now that we end up having that championship round, we kind of had a few days to kind of let that settle in. How many rooms do you think are actually impactful after actually playing through it?
So I think Turtle Shell is still impactful, right? Because you just deal with some health triggers there. Endgame Thanos. If they push at the wrong time, you can absolutely mollywopped. Now the problem is where do Starjammers come in? Because if Starjammers come in here, might Lilandra one shot Thanos Endgame because she has that extra
Jeez.
100% damage. Yeah, from full life too. So it's kind of curious, but I still think that room has some potential to make changes. I think the next room, Toxic, it may just be a room where you try and stack some really beefy characters. Like the Wanderer's Revenge there is pretty good. I'm probably going to lean into that for U32,
Mm-hmm.
but I could also see myself doing something with Annihilators in there and some really beefy characters. Maybe Apocalypse finds his way to the defensive side just because he does give that extra 50% life out there.
Yeah.
I can see myself doing a bunch of stuff like that, just trying to see if the enemy will take enough turns to hurt their own efficiency.
Yeah.
And then take a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Go
think
ahead.
for the toxic, if we really want to lean into this even more hard or anything like that, we can still keep, say, like the Odinati team in stage 1. We can end up doing something like this and throwing Black Knight in toxic. That would be nightmare fuel, in my opinion.
True. And then how did they get rid of the charge real quick? I
Yeah.
guess an old man Logan. So you throw in a character with a higher damage stat, like a Doctor Strange, maybe. And then Black Knight. He's doing 20% of your life. The room roll's taking off 15, so you're losing one efficiency point every single attack that you do.
Yeah.
I can see that definitely coming into play. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and then stage 1, my thought process here was the Illuminati team doesn't have a pre-taunt, so making it to where fortifiers end up spawning in with a taunt, and Black Bolt gives the extra health and damage. I could end up using both of them, and with Black Bolt's burps, I can end up making him that striker character, and he'd get the extra damage. And this ended up being actually more impactful than I thought it would. The negative 90% max health is brutal, but surviving with those death proofs, it basically makes it to where they can take about 6 hits before they end up falling over, which ends up being long enough to where you can still get some burps out there.
Yeah, and especially with a team like the Illuminati, like you're stopping a Kahori from coming in because no speed bar. You're stopping a villain team coming in because no speed up from that Black Panther Shuri. And then, of course, there's that ever-living Odin threat. And the rest of those characters don't need to be striker, right? So what you're doing is you're essentially taking away an easy clear room for your opponent by having your Odin and Illuminati team there. I do find that very, very interesting. And then, like I was saying earlier, it stops your like Mephisto from coming in as a striker because then he's just going to get absolutely destroyed. So that hard counter there is interesting. Now, does Starjammers then come in? Because Lilandra could come in with 100% extra damage as a striker because she'll go before anyone takes a turn, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting because people are going to have 7 red star Lilandra pretty soon. But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But stage 4 has got to be the most important room this season, right?
Yeah, stage 4, I think this is going to determine whether you win or lose the Crucible round. Basically, in here, all characters on offense only lower their focus by 5,000% and damage by 50%, which, again, it doesn't feel like it's 50%. It feels more, probably about 70, 75%, in my opinion, for any non-Mephisto. So Mephisto's still able to take that turn 1, do his empowered move, and then from there, you can kind of take your course. But what I ended up doing was I leaned into a Super Scroll to where the vulnerables can't land on him if you end up trying to do a Cabal in here. And the team is slow enough where if they try to use like Immortal like you did, it's going to stop the speed and my character is going to go so slow, you're going to be fighting through those resistance and focus checks and the damage reduction. This room here was probably my favorite, even though it's pretty toxic in my opinion, but I like it.
It is such a good bait room. And that honestly, in most Christmas matches, you just see to make your opponent trip up once.
Yep.
They take the bait. They don't even look. They just see Super Scroll. They immediately go, okay, whatever. I'll just use Mortals. All of a sudden, they don't land any stuns. They land no slows. They're starting to see the Liberty members start taking turns. Liberty's going to be more farmable soon. Like like you said, very, very toxic. It's a good bait room. I like it.
Yep.
And it opens up your own Illuminati to maybe go elsewhere if they can find some good footing, which I do find very interesting.
Yeah, the room I thought would be a lot more impactful, but because of how I have the other room defenses set up, is the stage 6. Now, I initially read this incorrectly because I figured that the speed up gets minus 50% speed, I took that as basically if you gain speed up, you're going slower. If you gain slow, you're going faster. But it's basically a wash, right?
Yeah, so the whole idea, because this is the room I got to craft after winning the last tournament. My whole thing I wanted to do here was make this a speed-free room. So no speed bar increase or decrease. If you get speed up, it just doesn't matter. If you get slow, it just doesn't matter. I guess it's easier to code it so that the buffs themselves are both giving their buff and taking their own buff away than it is to go into each individual, character's kit and say, in this room immune to whatever, right? So it's probably just an easier code.
Yeah.
Now, what I also asked for was actually the anti-speed stat in this room as well. But they left that one open, presumably because Null's coming, and then also the Havoc buff, right? Given that extra speed set. So it becomes a room where you get to kind of play with those characters, Night Stalkers. You got Nimrod here. So it becomes a room where it kind of becomes like 5 or 6 teams become interesting here. And then, of course, Emma Frost X-Men becomes just insane in this room, right?
Yep.
I thought it'd be a little bit more impactful. I did get a win, I believe. I believe I got a win against T-Dub, if I'm not mistaken here. I almost got a win against Updog, who came in here with a double Emma Phoenix Force Shadow King team, and he almost lost to my Night Stalkers old school Emma. He only had Omega Red left. In the second match, TW used Star Jammers against it. And against you, I think you actually ended up using Star Jammers against it too.
Yeah.
Because you had canceled before. Yeah. So I think that maybe this room is actually going to be really impactful, but in the tournament, at least, we didn't get to see it like truly fleshed out because people were able to use Star Jammers there, which, I mean, that may be the case if people are sliding Odin and Illuminati in stage 4, right? Where else are you going to use them?
Right. Now, something that I've been thinking about for a while is Professor Xavier's coming in about, I think, 23 days, right? Where you and I are at in Cosmic Crucible, we're probably going to see those on day 1 or day 2, I'm thinking.
It's a saga, day 1, maxed out. Yeah, you'll see them.
Which I'm pretty sure that's going to end up going in stage 5 with mutants. On turn, clear all negative effects from himself, heal for 10%. I'm pretty sure Professor Xavier is going to make this room a nightmare.
Yeah, especially with that second line that you're hiding right now. All characters, when they take a turn, they gain defense down.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that Professor X does is if a character has defense down and they're normally immune to trauma, they ain't immune anymore.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden your Odin can get trauma. Your Null can get trauma. Your Phoenix Force can get trauma. So it does become a little bit scary there. I do agree with you. Professor X could definitely slot in there. I wonder who he would be with because he's going to be pretty crazy.
If you really want a turtle, I would probably imagine Phoenix Force. Professor X, and then maybe throw in like Old Man Logan Nightcrawler. Really boost up all the max health with Phoenix and Nightcrawler to Professor X. Nightcrawler giving the speed up, and then Old Man Logan just goes.
Yeah, that sounds like a burn attack for sure. So then you do one burn attack into that. You try not to pull any cooldowns.
Yeah.
Because God forbid you walk into a Nightcrawler ultimate or an Old Man Logan ultimate, right? That'd be really bad. And then you got to follow it up with Mephisto. Because you have to get the 2 exhaust on Professor X. The first one from the burn attack. The second one comes from actually going in with Mephisto. And then even clearing it after that doesn't sound super fun.
No, it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That might end up being like maybe a Star Jammer cleanup. I don't know.
That could be a Star Jammer cleanup, actually. Yeah, even the Star Jammers might struggle against Professor X because he's stopping a lot of cool stuff from them, too.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, I can't wait. Aren't you looking forward to that? I'll probably get Professor X like 2 months after that. So this season of Crucible might be a wash at that point.
Yeah, like the first week will be fine. Then like week 2, because we have that U32, it's going to be 1 week, and then we have about 1 or 2 weeks of season 14, and then Professor Xavier is going to be out for however long that's going to be for the rest of the season.
All right, well there's our goal, days here. What we need to do is win every single match from now until Professor X comes, so that we can kind of coast off our Grandmaster status, hopefully.
Hopefully. Now, something I wanted to do was kind of go over your defense as far as what your theory crafting was, because you had that stage 4, man, that thing was terrible, and that's giving me nightmares. So tell me, did you know that was negative 5,000% focus in that room would kind of cause the issues that it did?
Yeah, for sure. I was like, okay, what do Starjammers struggle with? Well, if they do their attacks and they don't kill people right away, it's done. Okay, what does Odin want? Odin just wants to survive. If he gets one thing off, it's over. And so that's what I leaned into. That's exactly what happened. It's
Yep.
just, it's absolutely brutal. And in reality, you got to think about most people, they'll have a 2 diamond Black Knight, but they're going to have a 4 or 5 star Havoc, right?
Yep.
So it's just, it's not a fun match whatsoever. You have to go back to your Mephisto Phoenix Force counter. And then it becomes like, well, how big did you buy Omega Red? Well, you didn't buy them very big. Good luck. And so that's kind of what it comes down to, which is it's kind of a jerk move, but it works.
It did.
And then honestly, the rest of the rooms, I was just like, it doesn't matter. I just want to throw some efficiency crushers out there. So we had the Super Skrull Pav team. The hope there with having Skirmisher on Pav, he puts like a nasty slow on some of the Immortal X-Men characters that come in there. If that happens, cool. If not, it is what it is. Stage 1, we'll be changing that. It was just garbage. People just came in with better speed bar characters, instantly killed people, and that was over. And then stage 3, I mean, this I learned from the other guys that we fought against T-Dub and against Updog and against you also in the final round. This is the season of offense. Besides that stage 4, this is the season of offense. So just put up newer characters that aren't great on offense, but tax your opponent some extra turns. That's exactly what I ended up going for.
Yeah, then you basically treated stage 5 as a nothing burger with kind of the Wanda's Revenge, and then you did the Night Stalkers old school Emma in 6, which because I messed up the stage 4 matchup, I just needed to make up as much efficiency as possible in case you end up dropping that second matchup, because like you might drop one, otherwise it's going to be one shot everything. So that's kind of the Hail Mary that I did. It's like, let me see if Starjammers can actually pull this off. No, they didn't.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so stage 5, I put Wanda's Revenge there because normally the enemy gets to go first. It just is what it is, right?
Yep.
They give themselves defense down, and then Wanda's retaliates, hitting into defense down. Felt like that'd be a pretty good move. So that's why I put him there, but I didn't hold in the tournament either, I don't think. Yeah, you just Astraled it, no problem. You walked out with full life. Full life. There you go.
Now, because this is your 3rd win, you offered that we can try to craft a room together, maybe kind of still go to the community as well. So I want to throw this one at you to kind of see what your initial thoughts would be. What if we had a room where there was no safeguard, no trauma, and whenever you hit the primary target, you send negative effects that way. If you have no negative effects, you take the positive effects. Kind of like the Silver Surfer deal.
Okay. So all spawn stuff still happens. Like if someone gets taunt, they still just get that. There's just no safeguard. There's no trauma.
And then you're basically bouncing positive and negative effects back at each other.
Okay. That's interesting. So that's a very heavy, I go first, I'm going to strip you, and I'm going to get you killed quickly. So then we start seeing more value for having fast defensive units as well to try and do the exact same thing, right?
Yeah, because somebody like, say, Night Stalkers, that goes very fast. They'd have their positive effects. They could start stripping from the opponent. Yeah. They dish out a lot of negative effects. So now when the offensive player starts taking their turns, they're sending negative effects back at the opponent.
Okay, I like it. And then it also kind of messes with Immortal X-Men a bit because it takes their safeguard off spawn. So all of a sudden they can get their defense flipped, they can get slow, stuff like that. Yeah, that could be very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I figured since there would be no safeguard, no trauma, even if they go with the Immortal X-Men, they're not sending the traumas out as well, so that could mess people up too.
Yeah, Blade, if they go Night Stalkers and Immortals, then all of a sudden Blade's flipping that slow.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could see that.
It was just something I was kind of thinking, but did you have any like initial impressions that you've been thinking about yet or not?
Oh, no, because I've suggested a lot of things in the past, right? I suggested like make this room an everything room. Raids are open, wars open, crucibles open, arenas open, battle worlds open, like make it an everything room. Now I think the tech was lacking for that one. I suggested invert speeds. Yeah. So there'd be an equation to make like your faster characters go slow, your slower characters go fast. That would be representative by their actual speed stat in correlation with others. I think there was a complexity issue there. I thought about making a room where Hawkeye got 5 billion% extra stats. They didn't like that one. It was weird. Yeah, they didn't go for that one.
I wonder why, man.
Yeah, give Hawkeye his day. You know what? You know what room I really, really liked back in the day? I think it was season 1 or 2 of Cosmic Crucible.
Which one's that?
There was a room where skill characters on their turn gave energy to an adjacent ally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so instead of the boring rules where it's like, okay, you always start with ultimate, okay, you don't get and so I thought about maybe making a room that played around with that idea, because we have a lot of fast characters now, a lot of fast teams where that could be interesting, right? Like think about, okay, here's one. What if I put a Kahori team together and I put her adjacent to like Mephisto, or I put her adjacent to who's a character that ults and it's crazy.
As far as I've heard, one ult, Blade even.
Yeah, right. So you put like a fast character that feeds energy. I also thought about, what about a room, and this would be completely new tech, so I don't think they would ever go for it. It steals energy. So whenever a character takes a turn, it steals energy from their adjacent ally. So you would have to be super careful with your positioning on who you brought in. I think that one would be evil though, and people would get super confused, which is why I love the idea of it.
Yeah, same. Trying to make it like to where the follow-up attacks, like where are they at with their ability energy? That would be terrible.
Yeah, let's go super crazy. Let's have this season stage 4 grouped with whenever your character does an attack, they steal energy from their allies. Let's go evil genius with it.
That'd be mad scientist, and definitely Dorky's broken headset for sure.
Yep. Oh, that's the non-negotiable. This room has to be called Dorky's broken headset, no matter what rules we call it. But I like that. The no trauma, no safeguard is so interesting.
Yeah,
because that's why Phoenix Force can beat Illuminati, right? Like that's the biggest reason why they can actually hang in there and get kills on them.
Yeah.
So I could just imagine how impactful it'll be in other matches.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's always fun to play with buffs. Always fun.
That and speed.
And then Professor X. Oh, Professor X would come in and break that room too, wouldn't he? He'd be like, nope, you can get trauma now that I gave you defense down.
Yeah.
So it'd add value there, which I'm sure Scopely would love that. Yeah.
That'll be the Professor X room.
There you go. Oh my God. Oh, the evil that you could put on the community given this power is crazy. Or you could be like Duelam and make some garbage room that's not interesting at all.
That was not impactful at all.
It's so important that there is always somebody in the tournament to shut Duelam down. Love you, Duelam. All games.
Absolutely. Love you, Duelam. But let us know in the comments as far as what things you guys want to see as far as a room rule goes. Dorky and I is going to try to work together as far as that goes. We kind of discussed our thoughts as far as the season, which season 14 looks really fun, actually. I'm hyped about that one.
It does. I think people are looking at stage 1 as a nothing burger. I think stage 1 will become more important as things go, because it's so easy to get tripped up. It is so easy,
especially
in that room,
causing pre-taunts out there on characters that don't normally have a pre-taunt.
Yep. Yes. That's the second line that goes unnoticed or unappreciated. But those pre-taunts on certain characters absolutely messes you up.
Yeah, absolutely. But let us know in the comments what you guys think. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we got another video over with Dorky Dad where we discussed the U32 rules. Make sure you guys actually check that one out as well. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, and thank you again, Dorky Dad, for this video.
Hey, thanks for chatting with me. Have a good one, everybody.
All right, bye, guys.